Defenders, Correa, Caicedo has done it again! He has found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow!
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. Objectively speaking, Serie A Matchday 7 was the worst Serie A matchday this season. I'll tell you why in a minute, Adriano. Here on the Calcio Guys with Adriano DiNardo. I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni. Objectively speaking, this is not going to be the worst Calcio Guys episode ever. It might be one of the best. I say that every week. In my head, I say that every week. We're gonna have a great episode, and we're gonna have Tal from Juventus Club Empire State joining us later. So another in our series of fan clubs from around the world. Let's put it that way. How's it going, Adriano?
Yeah, not bad, man. Couldn't. I guess there's a lot of things to worry about, a lot of things to touch upon this episode, and international break, a little bit of Serie A action, a fine guest, Presidente down there in New York. Always fun to talk calcio here on the Calcio Guys.
So I guess because it's fresh in our minds, we'll start off with the Azzurri. Today 4-0 against Estonia. You know, similar to the friendly last month against Moldova. I mean, there's not much you could take away from the game, especially considering the circumstances around this. You know, a couple of players out with injuries and COVID, head coach out with COVID. It was pretty much like Italia C out there. Still pretty an easy 4-0 win against Estonia. When you posted on our Instagram at the Calcio Guys that Italy won 4-0 against EST, I looked at it and it said, "Damn, they're playing against a time zone, the Eastern Standard Time."
You know what? I don't know. It was one of those things that before we were chatting before kickoff, just the two of us, and where's Estonia on the map? Our geography is not that great. What history do we have with this club? I know the Azzurri posted a couple goals that they've actually scored against Estonia in games prior, but yeah, you said it right. Interesting time with this international break. There's a lot of mixed opinions and thoughts about this international break even taking place to begin with. Seeing how this COVID virus has continued to progress and gotten a bit worse and what have you. So. Listen, when the Azzurri are on and we're able to watch, we do. I know we both were watching today, and take it as you will. A friendly game. These things are pretty much pointless. The only thing, I guess, relevant is for the FIFA rankings there. But Italy wants to climb up that ladder. Mancini always says so. It was good to get the win. A lot of storylines with players' debuts, debut goals. Debuts up to the national team for that matter as well. We have a list of a couple names of the players, Nick, if you want to list them off.
Yeah, so a couple of Azzurri debuts, and that's what you want from these games, right? Against
absolutely,
a team like Estonia in a friendly. Alessandro Bastoni, Davide Calabria, Luca Pellegrini, Matteo Pessina, and Pietro Pellegrini. I didn't even know he was called up, to be honest, until I saw him on the game sheet for today. 41 players that got called up. It was hard to keep track of all. Honestly, I quickly skimmed through the list. I didn't even look closely at it, And then first two goals for Vincenzo Grifo. Obviously, he played before. Riccardo Orsolini. He's played twice for the Azzurri. He has 2 goals. Last year against Armenia in Palermo, almost a year ago exactly to the day. It was November 18th, and then today. But you added Calabria to that list because I thought I was convinced he made his Azzurri call up debut because I was looking at players who played, they're easy ones to know like Pellegrini, Pessina, and Pellegrini. I had to look up Bastoni and then Calabria. I thought to myself, this guy he already played. I guess not, but I was surprised he was even there. I don't know. He's not. I don't know. You're the Milan fan, but what I've seen, he's not like convincing. He doesn't seem like he could be a starter for the national team. He just looks like a new like De Sciglio or something.
No, I wouldn't say De Sciglio 2.0. I'll have to back up Calabria a bit more than that. He's definitely improved. It is a short sample size this season, but he has improved tremendously since years past. He's kind of looked a bit shaky. Him and Conti were kind of battling it out. I think he finally etched his name, maybe as the starter for now and continues on in the future for Milan. But he's looked good. I know our guest a couple weeks ago, Rui, had a lot of good praise about him too, and just a lot of Milan fans have kind of gotten behind him with his performances. Yes, he makes mistakes, but so does everybody. And it was great to see these like you said, these players get called up. First time, it's a dream come true for a lot of these players. No matter what age you are, we saw it with Ciccio Caputo. It doesn't take age is just a number. These debuts can come at whatever time, and it was great to see. I think there was a couple of stats with the Azzurri as well. With Grifo scoring, I think it was 27 different players scoring under Mancini. In this stretch, he's been at the helm. And I saw another stat before we got on air here that the Azzurri also posted, saying that they have now scored 58 goals in 25 matches under Roberto Mancini, an average of 2.32 goals per game. Which, listen, we've been known for our defensive abilities in the Italian national team. To see this side become a bit more offensive, a bit more creative in the final third is very encouraging for the upcoming tournaments coming up. But slowly with this Azzurri, we always say it, and on to the next game, I believe on Sunday.
Yeah, but okay, so you say it's 58 goals in 25 games?
That's what they say. That's what they listen.
How many of those goals were in an important match? They haven't played in a major tournament yet. They've obviously had the Euro qualifiers under him, Nations League. Say what you will of that tournament. And who did they score against? I quickly looked up their past results in the past year. They beat Armenia 9-1. They beat Moldova 6-0, and they beat Estonia 4-0. So right there, that's 19 goals in 3 games. So that really skews the results. So I don't know. Considering how they've done in, if you want to take the Nations League as an example, because maybe you could say that has the biggest. I wouldn't say it has the biggest implications because the Euro qualifiers have a bigger implication, but you're playing better opponents in the Nations League. Like Poland. They played Poland and Portugal the first time around. This time it's Poland, Bosnia, and the Netherlands. And they haven't been scoring a lot. Heading into this weekend's games, or rather it's Sunday against Poland and then Wednesday against Bosnia. I don't know. I really don't have that many expectations based on what how they played last time out. 0-0 versus Poland, 1-1 versus the Netherlands. A lot of injuries, no Immobile, no Caputo. I don't know. Italy, they control their own destiny to win the group. They win both games. They win the group. But I don't know. I think we just have to calm our expectations a bit. Maybe the team too has to realize the limitations of their roster right now, and just kind of look at these games almost like a friendly, almost like a opportunity to grow. If they get wins, that's great. But they can't put pressure on themselves.
No, I absolutely agree. I think it's been a project, a whole cycle with this Azzurri since the great devastation that our national team side faced, and we won't even go into those details because we already know something's going to be broken on one of our ends here. But it's been a project. Mancini, I think, has done a good job incorporating the young players, which I really do like to see. Yes, maybe the scoring hasn't been against top quality sides. But I think, it only builds confidence in these young players, confidence with this group. They always say they have a good group. I believe in the group. Do they, are they going to win the whole tournament come the Euros, come the World Cup? I don't know. Time will only tell for that. I think it's baby steps with this Azzurri team. And even if they don't win it all, I don't think it's a failure. If they don't make it to a certain level, I don't think it's a failure. I think it is a work in progress that Mancini has started. If he's going to continue on with that, we'll have to wait and see again. But listen, I'm excited for the Azzurri. Not maybe about this international break when it's scheduled right now, but again, always cheer for the Azzurri.
So back to Serie A, as I was saying at the top of the show. Objectively speaking, worst match day. Least amount of goals scored in a single match day so far this season, with 18. The next highest is 29. So 18 goals in 10 games. That's 1.8. The Serie A has been averaging. I lost my number here. I think it's
34?
Average 3.30. Sorry, average 3.4 goals per game, 34 goals per match day. There, I had it right there.
Okay.
The most in a single match day was 42, and 3 match days had 40 plus goals. There were 3 0-0 draws in match day 7. Heading into match day 7, there was 1 0-0 draw all season. 2 if you want to count Verona, Roma, that went 3-0 at Tavolino for Verona. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. We did have one exciting moment in Rome.
Correa squeezes between the defenders. Correa, Caicedo has done it again. He has found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Felipe Caicedo, man, that guy is probably the luckiest guy on planet Earth. Like, he should go out and buy a lotto ticket. Buy all the lotto tickets. He's going to win, no matter what. I mean, if you buy all the lotto tickets, you're going to win, so I take that back. He doesn't need to buy a lotto ticket to win the lottery, let me put it that way. Since joining Lazio in 2017-2018, he has 6 goals in the 90th minute and above. 6 goals in his 4th season now. I don't get it. My God. I think we need to put a cap. No more extra time if Caicedo's playing. He has to score in 90th minute.
No, I think
before the 90th minute. It's not fair.
It's not fair. That's like his bread. It's his bread and butter right there. From 90 to like 95, 96, however much time they put extra. No, but jokes aside, that stat that you listed, I know our boy Nando had shared it with us as well. What is this? Like you said, 6 goals in the 90 plus. It's ridiculous. It's just even as of late. Sorry.
Before joining Lazio, he had 6 goals in 90 plus minutes also in the various leagues that he played in.
So go figure. So he's found he's etched his name in history, I guess, with that. But it was remarkable. They just as of late, these past 3 games that he's done it in Serie A, in Champions League as well. It's absurd. It's insane. A lot of the Laziali obviously loving it. Put some respect on Caicedo's name, I hear. And I think, listen, he deserves it. We mentioned what was it last week? I believe when we were chatting with Peter from IFTV, how he had described Caicedo as a player, as a bench role player, as a guy who can come on and score you that goal. And what has he done as of late? He scored that goal. So he's I think just as important as any of the starters on Lazio. With this Immobile out, half in, we don't even know what's going on. He stepped up. Maybe didn't pick up wins in all those games, but picked up crucial points for Lazio, I think. And it just, again, if he can continue like this, he's definitely going to be in the record books for a long, long time, because you don't see that very often, guys scoring consecutively in that 90-plus minute range. So hats off for me for Caicedo.
And it's funny, these goals, it's not like they're coming, in a game that Lazio already has wrapped up, and it's like a 2-0 going the other way, and
not at all.
These are game-winning goals, which is what makes it crazier. We had our first coach firing in Serie A. In Fiorentina, I'm a bit shocked at this one. I called Torino. I thought Gianpaolo was going to lose his job, especially after that 0-0 draw against Crotone. They're still in the relegation zone right now. But instead it's Pepe Iachini who loses his job, and I don't know. Fiorentina, I don't think it's a coaching change that they need to make. I think they need to shake up management a bit. You know, if Comiso really loves his team, he would do a better job at delegating some sporting powers. I know there's Daniele Prade as the sporting director. Maybe he needs to go. You know, what's it gonna do? Changing coaches all the time. You know, I think Comiso needs to realize. This is right now. Fiorentina is not a team that's gonna battle for Europe. Sadly, they're a team that, at their worst, they're battling for relegation. You know, they're right now. I think they're just one of those teams that are just in the middle. That it's they're good enough to not get relegated, but they're not good enough for Europe. But to be good enough for Europe, I think they need better players and a better system, better youth system. They're getting a lot of older players, and it's just not. There's just something that doesn't work, and changing your coach isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, it's a tough talking point with Fiorentina because you want them to do well. They've had a great history in the past, and again, I go back and say that this is a project with this Fiorentina team. As much as you want to say it, it's not going to be switched overnight. Yes, when we talk about coaching firings and changing coaches at various points throughout the season, throughout these years. It's like, okay, well, back to square one. We're going to have to do a whole new system with a whole new coach and a whole new set of players potentially. So, and a lot of the times where we speak about coaching firings, we say who's out there to go get. Now, Fiorentina brought in back former Cesare Prandelli. I think he was. I don't know if he was a shocking pick because I think there is a good history, good rapport with Prandelli and Fiorentina. I think Prandelli was Fiorentina for sure, and I think that he can do something. Now, again, not going to happen overnight. This is definitely a project for the long haul. Comiso coming in, just as of late as well. It's something that's going to take time, and I think they deserve the time to make this project hopefully work. Like I said, Fiorentina, with the history that they've had, they deserve better. And, let's see what Prandelli can bring to the table. Yes, I think their squad is, relatively good. They've lost some pieces, but, they have some quality pieces as well. Some former world-class players as well. So it shouldn't be that they're in this position. But again, they need to work out the kinks, get this system under play, and hopefully Prandelli can be the man for that.
Barak got something not again, and it's deflected in. Oh, how about this? Well, the shot came in from Zaccagni, but it took a wicked deflection. You have to feel sympathy for Davide Calabria, the league's top scorer, with a chance to level things up. Oh my goodness. Wow. You do not expect to see that from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Brahim Diaz. Ibrahimovic is there again! This time is not to be denied. And Milan do now have their equaliser.
So Milan 2-2 against Verona. Idra, as a Juve fan, I like that because you guys laughed at us a couple of weeks ago when we tied Verona 1-1, and now we could laugh at you for 2-2. And at least we didn't have a missed penalty. Instead, we had a couple of goals ruled offside. So advantage Juve, right? But Zlatan scores these crazy bicycle kick goals, and then can't put a couple penalties away. What is it now? 3 misses this season?
Yeah, it is 3 misses in all competitions. Classic Juventino being petty and going back in time to try to bite us Milan fans in the ass there. But all jokes aside, because me and Nicholas could definitely go on about this all day. What do you have to say?
No, Juve fans aren't petty. It's always the other way around. It's always the other fans bringing up facts from 82 years ago. So, yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Like you said, Ibra missed the penalty. Tricky game. It always is with Verona and some of these teams in Serie A that
I always say there's no easy games in Serie A. I've always said that, always will. Verona, one of those teams, tricky team. Juric, great system that he's got over there at Verona. Lost some pretty big pieces over this past mercato, and still they're getting results against the big dogs, against the bigger clubs historically, and right now in the current in Serie A. So, I mean, for this game, I don't know. I think we could have gotten a lot more out of this game. And I don't want to sound biased, and you're probably going to say I'm going to sound biased, but I believe the 2 goals that Verona scored were definitely lucky because, what the Barat goal early on definitely shocked the system. But he was at the right place at the right time, so credit to him. But that banged off the post, banged off Donnarumma's legs. Scrambled in the front, and he was there to tap it in. The Zaccagni goal. What a shot, but what a deflection. And it fired past Donnarumma, and nothing you can do to Calabria because trying to help out his goalie, and it didn't work out. So we've seen that in Calcio a lot. And I don't want to bring up this situation just because Gianni's not here, but Koulibaly, Juve, 90th plus minute. I don't know. It's one of those things in Calcio, right? So, but no, moving on, I think, they called the Magnani own goal. Frank the Tank definitely got a toe to that. And later on in the game, it was one of those things where so many missed opportunities, missed chances. They had 34 shots, so 30-plus shots in a Calcio match. You hopefully think that you can come out victorious. They only had 8 on target. For me, that's not acceptable. And yeah, you want to say that 9 times out of 10, Ibra makes these penalties, but this season has been not really his cup of tea, I guess. He's missing 3 in all competitions. Jokingly saying
more like 7 times out of 10.
7 times out of 10, yeah, if you want to go down to the nitty gritty. But yeah, he definitely redeemed himself. He got the late equalizing goal. That was a crucial point that they needed. They're still in first place. If Milan fans thought that this run of form was going to last forever, you're kidding yourself. That's very, very hard to do to continue on like that. And again, this is one of these times where I mentioned it. I was a guest on Milan Obsession podcast recently, and it's one of these things where you take the point and run, and that's what this club is going to have to do. And because it's not going to get any easier. And right after international break, it's the mighty Napoli up next. So we'll see how it goes after that.
So let's quickly do our yellow card, red cards before we have Tal Batat on from Juventus Club Empire State. Adrian, you take it away.
Yeah, so for me, we're going to start in MVP, or you want to start cards?
Let's start cards. Let's start
cards.
We'll finish with the positives.
We'll finish off with the positive. I like it. So for me, I'm going to go back to I know we had it in the notes, and I'm going to bring it up now for my yellow card. Benevento against Spezia, the Benevento Spezia match. I mean, kudos 100% to Spezia. They really came out to play. Vincenzo Italiano's side dominated, their fellow, sides that coming up from Serie B. They totally dominated Pippo Inzaghi's Benevento. 3-0 was the final score line. I'm not going to get into the goal scorers because I know you have that saved up. But Benevento looked terrible and dominated by a side that last year in Serie B, I could only imagine that they probably dominated them, right? So it was a bit of a shock for me to see that. I thought that game would have either equaled in a draw or maybe a Benevento win. But for me, their performance in that game, just even looking down at the stats quickly in that match about like possession, they only had 37% possession, 3 shots, 1 on target. The other way, Spezia had 63% and 12 and 6. So it wasn't Benevento's day. They got to shake it up. We had them. I know I had them. Finishing outside the relegation spots. Performances like this, they ain't gonna cut it. Me this week, Benevento yellow card.
This is definitely going to be another yellow.
Yeah, I think Spezia. We've talked about it before. Spezia is definitely shocking us. We'll wait and see. There's still a lot of soccer left to be played, but not only did they beat them, they dominated them.
That's it.
They looked really good. And by the way, I quickly looked it up. Last season in Serie B, Benevento beat Spezia 3-1 at home and then 1-0 on the road. So there you go. But my yellow card's going to go to Verona for blowing that 2-0 lead against Milan and giving them a lot of opportunities to come back too. As I mentioned before, it would have been even funnier if Verona ended up beating Milan, because then as Juve fans we'd have real leverage, and then it would also help us in the Scudetto race. But it is what it is, and maybe next time Verona will hold on to that lead. But I'm just going to give a yellow card for that.
And he now sees a flash of yellow before his eyes.
I'll let you take the MVP, because my MVP depends on your MVP. I'm down to 2 choices, so you go first.
So I'm going to eliminate one of your choices, and I like how we counterbalance ourselves here. Without Johnny, we're just like a seesaw here. But
yeah.
So for me this week, it was a no-brainer for me. Mkhitaryan for Roma. Hat trick against Genoa, 3 goals. What a performance by him! And he's been a guy that, along with Pedro and these other little additions that Roma have added, this season. And at the beginning of the season, for me, the Roman teams, for me was a big question mark. And slowly, at least with this Roma side, I'm starting to see something, and it's exciting to see. For Serie A purposes, for the race for the Scudetto, for top 4, and Europa League. But a guy like Mkhitaryan definitely brings in that experience. Scoring 3 goals is never easy. It was just the Mkhitaryan show versus Genoa. I put it in the notes, and not enough good things to say about him. He had 3 goals on 6 shots, on 4 shots on goal. And he was just the man in Genoa, and I think that he fits Fonseca's system. I think they've had to obviously work some things out without Zaniolo in there. So Mkhitaryan, I believe, now even leads the league in assists. We mentioned how these older players are aging like fine wine. He's another one added to that list. And again, this match day, not enough good things to say about Mkhitaryan against Genoa.
Now Pedro, the cross comes in. Mkhitaryan, hat-trick hero, goal number 3.
Yeah, we didn't get the chance to talk about Roma, but I guess that's what happens when Gianni's not here. So, Gianni, if you end up listening to this, we got to talk about Roma when you're here. But yeah, Mkhitaryan, what a monster! Beautiful 3 goals. I'm gonna go to the guy who scored a double against. Benevento Mbala Nzola scored his first 2 goals for Spezia. I believe first 2 goals in Serie A. This is a guy who came over from Trapani last season. Scored 9 goals in all competitions with them last year. He's actually the same age as us, Adreano. He looks 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He looks a lot older, but he looks good out there. He looks strong. He looks like he's strong on the ball, and he could definitely be a player. I know Golabinov is hurt right now for Spezia, so he could be a player who comes in his place and pots some goals, because that's when you need when you're you're a new team in Serie A fighting relegation. Right now they're in 12th, but all season they're still gonna. I'm still gonna consider them fighting relegation, until they secure the spot. But that's what they need. But good for him. Nzola 2 goals.
Gazzi gets away from Maggio, chips in the cross, and Zola! There's the first goal for Mbala Nzola, the Frenchman, with his first in Serie A, and it extends Spezia's lead in the second half.
Yeah, Adriano.
And since I do feel bad about Gianni, and we didn't really get to touch upon Napoli, I'm going to say shout out Victor Osimhen, big goal. We had the debate a couple episodes ago, if not last episode, about his struggles, whatever, put it behind him. I think that was a huge monkey off his back. I think he might have been listening to the podcast, in my honest opinion. He scored that goal, that big goal. That was the crucial winning goal for Napoli, beating Bologna, the 1-0. So, like I said, with Osimhen, give him the time, and I think he will produce. And I'm happy for him because I'm a big fan of what he can bring for Napoli and for Serie A. So shout out Osimhen once again.
They might well do that with Lozano. Osimhen's header! He's back on the score sheet, hung up beautifully by Lozano. And Victor Osimhen just had to keep his header down.
Yeah, we reverse jinx him. I feel like we do that a lot on this podcast. When we talk about a player or a team in a good way, they go out and do bad things. When we criticize a player, they go out and do good things. And that's exactly what we did last week. I made a comment about Osimhen not scoring, but good for him. Nice goal too. Coming up, the president from Juventus Club Empire State.
This is Bentancur. And players lurking in the middle, one of whom is Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, what a run he's on at the moment.
Welcome back to the Calcio Guys. Joining us now, the president from Juventus Club Empire State is Tal Samson Batat. Tal, how's it going?
It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So what we like to do with all of our guests before we get into the nitty-gritty, talk about Juve. We want to ask you, how did you become a Juve fan?
This is a great story. I like to think this is a great story. So let's see. I was 10. I moved to Israel, and all I did with my cousins there was play FIFA or variations thereof, Winning 11. Even that red card, I remember that one fondly. And I was pretty bad. I would still say I'm rather mediocre at it, but I was losing on a regular basis with every 5-star team that FIFA had to offer. And then my cousin said, "Oh, check this team out, Juventus. They're not super, they're a 4.5-star team, but they're pretty good." And I just started winning. The first game I played with the Juve squad, I won. And many games subsequently afterward. And it was such a source of pride for me. I'm like, this is a real team. This is my team. And then the more I learned about Juve, the more I grew to love Juve. And I like to say that, if I had started winning with Real Madrid, I probably wouldn't be a Real Madrid fan right now. I think that it was Juve that actually drew me to it. The Juventinità spoke to me, a non-Italian, and there's something about it that from everything I loved. I'm like, the jersey, I love it. This, I love it. The history of players, this. I'm like, how did nobody tell me about this? Is almost how I felt about it for so long. And I mean, it makes sense. My oldest cousin being a Man U fan and only really hearing about the EPL, and then other big teams from around Europe. You'd hear, Inter, Milan, and Barca and Real out of Spain, Bayern. Sometimes PSG would squeak something out. But Juve was not necessarily super popular, at least where I was. So I didn't know about it until I started winning with Juve. And then, you know what? I started winning with Juve. Juve started winning. It became a symbiotic relationship, and we went with it.
Awesome.
And I would the rest is history. So I still have my 0102 fast web kit that I wear, and I will wear till it is nothing but threads that I put over my neck. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, it's amazing. That's why we do this portion of the show. Just the different stories that we do get about how you fell in love with the team that you support. So definitely one of the more interesting stories that we've gotten. But nonetheless, it's a great story, Tal. And,
I love Juve enough. Yeah, sorry.
No, go on.
No, I'm saying I loved Juve enough to start the fan club in Empire State.
That's
know,
it.
To
That's
be
it.
an active member and an active participant in making that happen. I wasn't the only one. It wasn't just me. There were many other people involved, but you know, a non-Italian is willing to go that far. I think it says a lot.
It does, and we do commend you, and we definitely will touch upon your club later on, but getting a bit more into the nitty gritty, like we said, this last game against Lazio, I guess tricky match, really wasn't over until the final whistle, with the away card.
Oh my God, Lazio at the death first.
Yeah, so just quick thoughts on the match.
I was listening to your last podcast, and I think somebody said like if Calcio, if the game started in the 90th minute, Calcio would have 5 Ballon d'Ors or something like that.
Yeah.
That's my match reaction. That's my match reaction because I think Pirlo said it in recent interviews. Like, we're still working on the new system. It's still integrating. We have plenty of injuries we're dealing with. Overall, I watched the game as much as I could live because it was like a 6 a.m. game. So what I did see, I think we had really good, parts of play. I think we fell into like old Juve or like Sarri's Juve or Allegri's Juve, where like at the last 10 minutes of the game, we're just all just not on. Everybody's falling asleep, and that's okay when you're up 2-3-0, but not when you're up 1-0. And I think that especially when Pirlo needs to kind of start showing everyone that, like, yes, we can win games without conceding. We can win games without mess ups and things of that nature. I agree with him. I think we're 60-70% there, maybe less, maybe 55-50% of the way there, because I think that these players have great potential to work together. They just have to start doing that on a better scale.
We got a question on Twitter from our friend Francesco. He asked, obviously, a lot of talk has been going, directed towards Pirlo already, or early on, 7 games into his managerial career, a lot of criticism. And he asked how much criticism directed to Pirlo has actually been justified, and how much is just exaggeration from Juve fans.
I think I have to like put myself in check on this as a Juve fan all the time. I think, and I'll admit this. I don't think necessarily everyone's willing to admit this, but I think we are spoiled. We've won this.
True.
We win. And we win consistently, and I think that we're expecting it to just be like, oh, it's Pirlo. Like, of course, the greatness of Pirlo is going to suck all the bad, sorry juju out of the team, and everything's going to be bright and sunny again, and everyone's going to play with the grinta of 100 Mandzukic, but. It's not the case. It's still a new system, still a new coach. I think if you look at the way, I think the most important thing to see is the way the players are reacting. They look like they're actually having fun playing. And, it's nice to see a coach that actually gets mad on the touchline, is actually doing things. So, I mean, maybe I'm a little beer goggles for Pirlo because Sarri felt like an absolute nightmare for me. I was very not pro Sarri. And I think Pjanic really said it best, where it's like, when you lose the locker room, or you start criticizing players, or you start saying like, these guys are not putting in enough effort, why would they put in effort for you then? And I think that a lot of Juve players have got, they're still shaking off the Sarri. And I think that, I'm actually really surprised at how well Pirlo has been able to turn things around in the short span of time. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had the weirdest mercato ever to deal with. Not like a traditional mercato ever, where it's like, you know exactly how much you can spend and all of this. Everything had to be tricky. all of the teams were penny pinching and getting creative with things. I mean, if you look at the finances behind the Artur Pjanic swap, like somehow both teams claimed 180 mil gain of that or something. It's ridiculous. So it was one of the weirdest mercatos ever. He had not that much to work with. And then you look at this season, look at Danilo. Last season, everybody was like, someone put him on a boat, put a bunch of holes in the boat and some cinder blocks so we can get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? And now It's like, oh, who knew Danilo was one of our best players? You know what I mean? Like, where did that happen? So, I think, again, 50. I would say 55-60. I think Pirlo was being a little bit more generous. I would say 55-60% of the way there. And I think people need to be a little bit more calm. And I think they need to read Pirlo's dissertation.
Absolutely. I think it's
to get a little bit better of an idea of what he's going for and to see how that's implementing and being like, oh my God, this is almost clicking. This is almost clicking. This is almost clicking. And for me, it's really exciting to watch because it's like, I know his plan. He's very clear about what his plan is, but it's really also about getting players to react properly to situational play. And it's a system like any other system. I think it's going to, once it clicks, we might be lucky to see, a Juve squad beat a team 5-0 and that not be the J ladies. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Hey, look, I love watching the J ladies because I love watching Juve beat a team 5-0. Okay, I don't get to do that much anymore. So I try to, I get my wins where I can. I'm really loving what's coming out of the squad. I think a little bit more gelling needs to happen, and we have like Paulo Dybala that's operating at 30% right now. So calma. It's a long season. We've come back from -11 with, I think, stronger teams in the league.
Yeah, in 2015,
when we came back from -11. I think
that was a
the
great season.
15-16 season. There was plenty of really, really strong teams in the league. We lost a lot of points and we dropped a lot of key crucial points to smaller teams early on, just like we did here. I think we opened that season with a loss to Udinese or something.
I believe so. And I think after losing to Sassuolo in October, they were as low as 12th. So there was no worries.
So and then there's something that's really interesting. This is just kind of a pattern that I've personally noticed, and I can't pull any actual statistics on this, but how do I say this? Juve likes to get all of their hiccups out of the way early. So if you're going to see Juve struggle, I tend to find you're going to find it within the first 10 to 15 games of the season where we're going to struggle the most. Sarri, I think, was the anomaly for that. But we have a typically struggle early on. By Christmas, we are we're steamrolling, and you know what I mean. It's just a matter of how we can get this squad to work together and avoid more injuries and play at 100%, like it is every season. But I think that we should have faith in Pirlo because it's clear the management does. And, they did the best they could for him as far as Mercato. I know he wanted players like Morata and McKinney. So, they got him the guys. And it's clear. I mean, look at Alvaro Morata. Here's another player. You know what I mean? We got him from Atletico. Total, basically, every pundit saying it's a wild card, purchase. Who knows what's going to happen. He had one goal in 12 games or something like that. And all of a sudden, he's putting up almost better than 15-16 numbers, which is his peak season. So, again, I don't think that's, it's not just Alvaro being comfortable. I think Pirlo has a lot to do with it. I think Igor Tudor probably also has a lot to do with it. And I think the appointment of Igor Tudor was something that a lot of people should have noticed a little bit more closely. I did not really have the pleasure of seeing Igor Tudor play, but what I have seen of him, clips, he was a beast, and he was would define Grinta on the pitch in terms of a defender. And I think that's another thing that was really lacking, is somebody to smack a little backbone into some of our players. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is a little bit of like, this is Juve. We don't behave that way. I'm not going to name names, but I think it's time for players to become a little bit more part of the whole, and be a little step back. I'm not talking about Cristiano. He's, he comes onto the pitch. There's nothing we can do. You pass to Cristiano. It's what are you going to do? I think the combo of Kulusevski, Artur, and Dybala being able to work better together. I'm also loving what Chiesa is doing. This is a very long answer to this, but the short answer is Pirlo reacting in the 90th minute against Torino, 1-1, calma, and then bashing it in. You know what I mean? It might be rocky, but at the end, we're bashing it in.
No, and we appreciate the long, the short, and everything in between answer by you, Tal. And so if you want to quickly, move on, you mentioned a lot of good points. Pirlo, with his whole system, everything. It is with a new system, new coach, a guy who just got his coaching license. You do got to give time. One player that's been in the news. It seems like always. When he does good, they praise him. When he's left out of the match sheet or the game sheet, he gets a lot of criticism. But we got one question from our good friends over at Pizza Calcio on Instagram, talking about the man Paulo Dybala. They ask, where is Dybala playing this time next year? Are you on the whole Dybala in, Dybala out? What are your thoughts about Dybala this season and season?
I'm just going to interrupt. I'm just sorry. Because we got a similar question actually from our friend Dom DeFazio, another Juventino. He asked, ignoring Dybala's form, what money would you be willing to sell him at? He's 27 years old but loyal. So it's, I guess, two-parted question. If you'd be willing to sell him, and where do you see him playing next year?
I think if you look at the modern game, that number 10 role is so hard for players to kind of lock down positionally. In a 4-3-3, which is what a lot of teams play, you want a number 10 to be kind of a go between your midfield and your attack, but also go forward. Kind of, or are we playing him as a false nine? Are we playing a fourth? Are we playing, a 3-man attack? Or are we playing a 2-man attack? I think Paulo is a versatile player. I think him playing as a segunda, off of a striker, I think a partnership, because I'm thinking of a post-Cristiano Ronaldo world. And when you talk about the future of Dybala and the future of Juventus, I think you need to look at it at a post-Cristiano Ronaldo world when, you can look at a lineup and even, you can say like, hey, we have Dybala and Morata up front. And then you have, somebody on the wing like a Kulusevski or a Chiesa, or maybe a Kulusevski or a Chiesa coming up from behind the two of them. Again, I think the guy just needs to get back into form to show everyone that, like, this is our Dybalino, this is our La Joya, this is our joy to watch him play so well when he does. And I think we got to see a little bit of that in the Champions League when he just sunned that goalkeeper twice. The second time was much better than the first if you watch the angle of the goal and how tight he actually has to get to score that. That was not every striker is scoring that one. So again, I'm telling you, we got a Dybala. I think maybe I said 30% earlier that he's operating at. I wouldn't even say 30, 20%. I mean, you saw his brain fart against Lazio that inevitably led to their goal. I just think that, like, we need to get off the kid's back. He recovered from COVID. He had it for a super long time, so we don't even know what the effects, how that's affecting him. For all we know, he's breathing at 60% capacity and is just busting his ass on the field every day for us. And we have the audacity to criticize the guy. I'm not saying that, he is beyond criticism, but I also think that we should let the kid recover, let him recover completely before we talk about moving him on or shipping him out. And in terms of post-Dybala Juventus, I don't think it would be smart to move him on unless he was playing catastrophically at 100%, which I still don't think he's close to.
And so, obviously, Juve, the big thing the past few years, Champions League, between us Juve fans and just even everybody within the club, it's almost like an obsession. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like also it's kind of, that obsession kind of fell off maybe the past 2 years. I think even the club said it, they want to aim more for the 10th Scudetto this year. But we got a question from Genoa. Hey, Genoa's shaking his head. From our friend from Fabrizio from Genoa Club Toronto. Why can Juve win 9 Scudetti in a row but not even get a medal in Europe lately?
What club was that again? What is he from? Genoa?
Genoa Club Toronto. Good friend Fabrizio.
Genoa Club Toronto? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk trophies with a Genoa fan. No, I'm just kidding. Banter. It's all banter. But you know what? I think it comes down to luck and the yips also. Like, I think we want it too bad, and we need to not think about it. We need to stop thinking about it. We need to stop I think the obsession is our problem. We're almost stalking the Champions League, and the Champions League has put out a restraining order against us. We need to chill, maybe buy the Champions League some flowers, apologize, and then we can start fresh. I think Pirlo, again, I'm going to go back to Pirlo. I think that's it's a good way to do that. I think he knows how to approach the Champions League in terms of a player that has won it and played on really competitive Champions League squads. So in terms of managing a squad and knowing how managers that he's played under, like Ancelotti, have performed in the Champions League, and how they have, again, squad managed and played for the Wednesday, Tuesday night instead of the weekend. But it's kind of hard to do that when at Juve, again, we're spoiled. So we go out there literally every season. I'm all right, treble, let's do it. That's what we're going for. And in my mind, as a Juventino, we can't, it's so stressful. It's never even a 1-0 win we manage to make stressful. A 4-0 win, I'll still manage to figure out, I'll still be able to drink 9 beers during a 4-0 win somehow. So I think it's going to come down to having a system that works. We have gotten lucky in some cases in Champions League and not capitalized on that luck, and then in other cases gotten really unlucky in how things played out. I can name numerous amounts of calls that did not go in our favor in the Champions League that were pretty blatantly not good. Sergio Ramos, I'm looking at you. And Dani Alves, I'm looking at you too. Don't think I forgot about that either.
I hope he's listening to this podcast.
Oh, I hope Dani Alves is listening to this podcast. Shit talker. Anyway. Yeah, we didn't like you either, Dani Alves. Don't worry. So, what was the question again?
I think you answered it. I mean, we got another question. I mean, similar one from Francis Carr. When are Juve going to win a Champions League next?
When? I have this long-running joke that when all the players that went down to Serie B with us are retired. So I guess we're waiting for Buffon and Chiellini to retire, and I think that we're that. That's my own weird superstition, and I hope that's wrong. But it's we need to shake off the yips, and I think that those guys are the guys that have been around for too long at Juve are kind of want it too bad. Bonucci is a liability in Champions League because he wants it too bad. So he's got so much pressure built up on himself. So many of these players put so much pressure on themselves. And as fans, we don't acknowledge that a lot. But I feel it's one of those things, the players put too much, it's like Buffon always wanting to win the Champions League and that being one of the things that have escaped him. And now he's back. So now it's like win it for Gigi. Oh, we can't let Gigi down. Oh, we can't do this. We can't let Chiellini down. We can't let this guy down. It's like, guys, just relax and play the game. And I think that's the problem, is that like we get too much in our heads with it. We really do. I think that's the Juve curse, and that's why I say like we need these guys to not be on the squad or have a lesser role in the squad, so that like the squad of people that are hungry to win the Champions League because they just want to win the Champions League, not because it means so much and we lost 2 finals and blah blah blah. Well, 7 finals, whatever. Who's counting? So. It's about being a little bit. It's about taking a step back. I think focusing on the 10 Scudetti first, and then almost being able to say, like, all right, we don't have to win Serie A now. Like let whoever's going to take it, and let's go in the 21-22 season and say balls to the walls Champions League, play the U23 squad against Inter on Sunday, so that we can play the full A squad at maximum, maximum match fitness on Wednesday, kind of thing. And that's how it's going to go. I think until we shake off the Champions League yips, it's not going to happen. And that's why I say, like, these players are the ones that cursed us, because I feel like they put a lot of personal pressure on it at the same time, and it hurts. It makes them individual that's part of a whole versus the whole squad alone.
Well said.
I don't know if I got too meta about that, but
no, fair enough. Fair enough. No, it is, and at the beginning of what was it now, 2 years now that Ronaldo was there, I want to just put this in there. A lot of the papers, a lot of the talking point. Ronaldo's coming in, that means Champions League, and I don't know how you feel about that, Tal, but I guess that probably, like, add to your point, it only, I guess, adds the pressure to the club, adds pressure to the squad,
100%,
adds pressure to the coach, a new coach now again in Pirlo. So, I guess it is what it is.
The only exception I would say to that is that, like, Cristiano Ronaldo, like, historically thrives on that pressure, and when people say, like, oh, he's washed up, he's done, he can't do it anymore. And, like, he's going to be like, oh, Zlatan is playing till how old? How old is he playing? He'll be like, knock my contract down by half. All right, I'm playing till 60. Screw you guys. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I feel about Cristiano, and that's why, I'm glad that he's on the squad. But again, like, we can't play for Cristiano. Like, sometimes maybe the best chemistry we have on the pitch doesn't involve him being there, and we insert him because we need Cristiano on the pitch. Like, maybe bring him on in the 60th minute. That's okay. Cristiano doesn't have to play 90 minutes of every game. And I think, again, it's adding to these, like, different Juve. It's never, I don't ever think it's the players that are the problem. I think it's the mentality and the pressure that is put on Juve by Juve players and Juve fans, because of, we got to do it for Gigi, we got to do it for this. Oh, we have Cristiano now, we're going to do it. It's like, no, there's no guarantees. Stop pretending like the wins are guaranteed and start playing every game, and that's what happened. You watch Juve turn off because it's almost like we think the win is guaranteed because we're up 2-0, and then we turn off. Sometimes we have to stop taking things for granted, and I think that getting the 10 Scudetti out of the way allows us to be like, okay, you know what, 11, that sounds like kind of an annoying number. I don't want 11. 10, we're good with 10. Okay, I like 10. You know what I mean? Let's cap it off at 10. You know what I mean? So nobody's ever going to do it again. Nobody's ever going to do it. Nobody's going to do 10 in a row. That's it.
Yeah.
He's going to do 5 in a row. The best they're going to get after this is 2, maybe 3. But and even before that, who had it? Like Lyon in the 30s?
In France,
maybe.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the French league, so we'll leave it that with that. But so the way you're talking, Tao, you're pretty gun ho, you're pretty confident about. Well, actually, I want to ask you: are you very confident for that 10th Scudetto to come Juve's way? What are your thoughts? This is an interesting season this year, 2020. COVID, a lot of good teams. A lot of different competitions, health. COVID-related cases as well. So how do you feel about 10 in a row for Juve? And can they win the Scudetto this year?
I think we can. I think it's definitely a lot more even this year. I think we should. Personally, I think with the squad that we have, with the manager, we should be able to. We are capable, and I would think in a very high percentile of capability to do it. That being said, I think it's not a given. It's not a given, and like you have to wait for all the other teams to have their yearly hiccups, which I'm hoping are going to happen soon. January is just around the corner, is usually when it starts, and so it's going to be really important for us to capitalize on big games. Lazio, that needed to be a win. That we needed that to be a big win for us. And we got to try to forget that and move past it, but also learn from it. And Pirlo's starting to sound like a broken record. Like, we need to play better. We need to play as a team, blah, 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 blah. But he's right. I think we can do it. I think it's up to us to, again, be like, okay, 10th Scudetto, no pressure. Go for it. Calma, calma. You know what I mean? And let the Maestro conduct the orchestra. You know what I mean? Like, you might be first chair violin, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't come up and take your spot. Look at Frabotta. He's doing great this season. And I, as a guy who's a huge Primavera fan, and I follow like all the U23 players on Instagram, and I'm like, trying to figure out what they're doing, because it's like so hard to like get a grasp over who's actually on those teams. I had not really heard of him, so I think those are one of those things that are also really important parts of this, is being able to rely on the younger players, being able to give young guys a shot, and trusting the team. We have a coach that trusts the players now, and that believes in our players. And I think that that's a very scary thing when we're talking about Juve. I think it's scary for other teams, because that means that we are capable under this coach to play at 100%. I don't think that under Sarri we were ever capable at playing at 100%. And I think the most indicative thing that he ever said about his tenure at Juve was, wow, they must have been really good to win with me as a coach. Yeah, we must have been, you sack of bleep expletive potatoes. Like, seriously. Oh my God. Go die in a fire. Sorry, no, don't. I don't wish death upon anybody, but like, just smoke your cigarettes, bud. You know what I mean? Go smoke your cigarettes and go back to being a banker, because football is not for you. Anyway, I got off topic. I think we can win it. I think we need to have faith in Pirlo. We have to have faith in the players, and fino alla fine, and not forget that.
And moving away from Juventus, but Juventus Club Empire State. So you're president of the fan club. Can you tell us a bit about how it got started, your involvement, and some of the activities the club does, and then if people from the New York area want to join, how they get in contact?
So let's see. Starting in around 2013-14 is when I started going to hang out at this bar across the street from the Empire State building called Legends, and in the basement is the Football Factory, which is one of the greatest soccer bars in the United States, I would say. And there's a multitude of fan clubs that go there, all official and unofficial in various capacities. And I started to meet other Juventini there. And the list is long of people that helped in the beginning. And a lot of them currently make up the board of the fan club that it is today. But basically in 2015, we started unofficially over what was existing, something that was kind of there. And that allowed us to kind of have a little bit of a framework. There were people that were coming to the bar already, so there was like attraction, there was want for a Juve club in New York. We were able to then make enough noise, and one day I got a Facebook message from a guy at the marketing team at Juve that was like, hey, I heard you want to start a Juve fan club. We're going to be in New York scouting locations for the team to go to when they're going to be in the city. do you want to have coffee and talk about it? And I was like, okay, do you want me to pick you up at the airport? I mean, that's how it felt. And from there, I mean, the rest is history. It was really easy for us to get it going. Juve is great to work with in terms of, I have like a direct response with the JOFC representatives. There are things we can and cannot do, and we are restricted to certain, codes of conduct, which, again, totally cool. What we do, we meet at the bar, we have games, we do as many giveaways as we can, and we always try to expand the member benefit package for our existing members. But the best thing I could tell you about the JOFC program as a whole is that the JOFC program is the best way for you to get tickets to watch Juve in the stadium. The way it works roughly is pre-sale for Juve tickets happens 2 weeks before they go on sale officially, and we get to make requests for tickets before pre-sale starts. So before a match, before pre-sale will start, we'll be notified and, say like, hey, if anybody wants to go to, let's say, Juve Genoa on this date, here you go. You're able to do that for some away games even. I remember, I think Frosinone, Hellas Verona, Genoa, I think, is one of the away stadiums that we can get access to, possibly. Again, it's always on the fence whether it's going to happen or not as far as the away stadiums. But that's the best part. I mean, if you've ever gone to a match in Italy and you know what it's like to go through the ticket process and you get it on a third-party vendor or something like that, and you pay €300 for your ticket, and you look down at your ticket and the price is listed on the ticket and it's like €55, and you're like, I just got scammed. And you're like, oh, but it's worth it because I want it to be here. And when you think about saving, when you think about the fact that you could save €300, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That's like an extra night in a hotel. That's, 2 jerseys, and that's just another way to expand, your love with the team. Again, I think another one of the best benefits is the community. We have a very lively WhatsApp chat that people go through various processes of blocking and muting.
The famous WhatsApp chat.
Go, I'm sure. Oh my God, everyone's in 1 or 2 of those at least.
Yeah.
And now given COVID and quarantine, I'm sure 3 or 4 at this point. Again, I get the most out of it personally is the community. I love meeting other Juventini. I love making other Juventini feel welcome and feeling like they have a place. And it's fun. You know what I mean? It's like fun as are living in, I'm sure you guys being Canadian, living in North America, being a football fan, and you know what I mean? And then like having to watch games like on your phone or like, at home alone. And you're like, this is like no fun. And it's like more infectious when you're there with people. And it gets better and better every time you go because this is your family now. And we're there week in, week out. You know what I mean? It's not always the same numbers. It's not always the same people. But it's like week in, week out, we're there, man. And it snowballs. And you just find yourself like, oh, did I spend, man, I could have got a way to make these beers tax write-offable because there's a sizable portion of my income that's going to beers and legends.
The passion grows with this type of stuff. I'm a proud member of Milan Club Montreal. Nicholas has just recently with Milan Club Toronto. Shout out to them. Juve Club Toronto.
Yeah, you said Milan.
Excuse me. Juve Club Toronto.
He did say. I heard it.
Excuse me.
Bianconeri YYZ.
Listen. Don't push that on us. That's your thing. We have our own neuroses. Let us enjoy them. Okay? You have your thing. You have the fight with the blue clowns. We love your fight with the black and blue clowns. Everybody likes it. Nobody likes them. We prefer you guys to be, doing stuff in Milan. They can go to Serie B. Anyway, sorry.
No, we appreciate the kind words, Tal. But yeah, no.
Well, you know what? Our favorite thing. So this is really funny. Is that like the Milan Club of New York City. Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah,
you guys are there.
Whenever we play against them, they also meet at Legends. Whenever we play against them at halftime, we sing a chorus of Inter Merda, Inter, which is always fun.
No, it is, yeah. And like you said, it is a legendary place. I know you guys are there. Milan Club, New York City, like you said, Roma Club, New York City, I believe is there as well. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think Roma's there. I think they're at a bar called Smithfield. But Smithfield, again, if you're a football fan and you're in the city and you're in New York City, you got to go to Legends, you got to go to Smithfield. There's a couple other like Liverpool bars and Arsenal bars that are like really great to check out just objectively as a football fan to just kind of get that energy. Because that's where you're going to feel it. I mean, it's the closest thing. I forget who said it. It's like for Juventini, like, if you're in New York City, this is your Curva Sud.
There you go. You said it right. And
Tal, what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And, we are abroad, but, we still feel that connection from across the pond, we like to say. And, Tal, honestly, we do appreciate myself and Nicholas and our co-host Johnny, who couldn't be here. We appreciate you taking the time out of your night for coming over here to speak to us.
Guys.
And quickly, and we love your passion, absolutely love your passion, your analogies, the whole nine. We do love it over here.
Thank you.
Where can we find you guys on social media if anybody wants to find you guys out there?
Social media is a great Juventus Club Empire State is what we're on most socials. But I think also you should check out our website. JuventusClubEmpireState.com, and you can sign up, become a member from there. I mean, it's literally everything is there, all of our socials, a lot of the stuff and events that we've done. So if you really want to learn more about the club, that's a great place to do it. And on Facebook as well, Juventus Club NYC on Facebook. We do, have a pretty active Facebook group there. Socials, I believe, Juventus Club Empire State. I'm always confusing the I know the Twitter is, I think, different, but they're all linked. And if you go to the website, they're all there.
Beautiful. So guys,
EmpireState.com.
That's it. Check out the website for any Juventini in the New York area, wherever you're listening from. Go check them out. And for us, as always, at the Calcio Guys on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Catch our podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And we'll be back next week to talk more Calcio.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Dellacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The outro song is The Last Ones by Jazar.